Our selection today is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up and I'm sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul is Zion bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As things are progressing with the culmination of the rule of the Gentiles, Yahweh is about to show who in Israel are truly his. As it is written, all of Israel shall be saved, but it is also written that they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. And Yahweh is going to allow some things to take place so he can tell exactly who is going to serve him and who just kind of like to hang out and, have a good time. Yahweh is going to show that very soon. And as things progress, it's going to be shown. When the weight starts getting heavy, we're going to see who's going to keep going and who's going to do what. You already have those situations where we have the portion of Israel who doesn't really do anything anyway. We just kind of come and hang out as it is. Yahweh doesn't need anybody to hang out. He don't need anybody to just hang around and say, holy, holy, holy. He got beasts that sit around the throne to do that. He don't need you for that. So if we're not going to provide a service for Yahweh or fill any void or gap, he has absolutely no reason for us. And we're going to have to figure that out the hard way. Yahweh cared absolutely nothing about killing off a whole lot of his own people, the very people that he said he loved, the very people that he said they have been set forth to set forth my name in the earth. When we didn't do right, he had no problem getting rid of us. And you don't build and start with a whole bunch of bad apples. So do understand, Yahweh's going to get rid of the bad apples first. We're going to start with a good bunch. And he's in the process of figuring out who that good bunch is. Today's sermon is entitled Justice, Judgment, and the Reign of the Gentiles. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name. And should you be utterly unpunished, you shall not be unpunished. For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, says Yahweh of hosts. Therefore prophesy you against them all these words, and say unto them, Yahweh shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout, as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. For Yahweh have a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, says Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. And the slain of Yahweh shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered, nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Let's begin today's sermon in Jeremiah chapter 22. Jeremiah chapter 22, and we're going to start that at verse 13. We're going to read verses 13 through 17.
Verse 13. Woe unto him that builds his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong.
Woe unto him that builds his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong. Now, the first thing that comes up to us is how America was built. But do understand, slavery was not a situation that just occurred here in this country. All the nations have had their hand in those things. And Yahweh is about to deal with his judgment upon all the earth, not just the daughter of Babylon. She got to pay her price, but everybody else got to pay theirs too. We keep forgetting the word Negro is Spanish for black. All these other nations had their hand in this pot. And Yahweh gets everybody involved. And if we confuse, all you have to do is go back to Genesis. From the first going against of Yahweh's word, Yahweh got everybody involved. The man, the woman, and the serpent that deceived them. Everybody got it. So thinking that Yahweh just gonna deal with the most guilty party? No. Yahweh gonna deal with them, and he gonna deal with us too. He ain't gonna leave us all together unpunished. We gonna get it too. We just not gonna get it at the level that everybody else gonna get it, but we gonna get it. Go ahead.
That uses his neighbor's service without wages, and gives him not for his work. That saith, I will build me a wide house and large chambers, and cuts him out windows, and it is sealed with cedar and painted with vermilion.
Right. When you look at the large mansions of today, there are so many things that have been built with this slave labor and this slave money. Large corporations, the very corporations that we work for nowadays, those things were started with free money, free labor. And when you get a 200-year head start, I don't understand how your business ever fails. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Shall you reign because you clothed yourself in cedar? Did not your father eat and drink and do judgment and justice, and then it was well with him? He judged the cause of the poor and needy.
He judged the cause of the poor and needy. But you got judging the cause of the poor and the needy can get very tricky, because you have those that are really poor and needy. Then you have those that like to play games. You got to judge between that too. You got to judge between the game players. Now, what happened when people see that? They might think, oh man, that brother's harsh. Because you don't see that full picture between those that are truly needy and those that playing games. And sometimes you got to cast out those that play games to save them from the wrath of Yahweh. It's better you tell them than Yahweh tell them. Because when Yahweh tell them, somebody gonna have to carry them out of here. I'd rather tell you before Yahweh tell you. Go ahead.
Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, says Yah? But your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it.
All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 21. See, the nations have to first feel what they have done to everyone else. What happens is when people are a part or benefiting from an unrighteous system, it's all fun and games as long as they are benefiting. But it never does occur to them that sooner or later the system gonna turn against you too. I find it, amazing when people have a pet snake, and then one day the snake bite them, and then they're so upset because they said, this is my snake. Yeah, but it's a snake. I think you forgot, because it was yours, what it was. It was a snake, okay? It didn't never stop being a snake just because you were familiar with the snake. It never stopped being a snake. It was always a snake. And that snake may be somebody in your family. That snake may be your best friend. That snake may be your spouse. But a snake is a snake. And just because you help the snake do some stuff and you help that snake catch a few rats, that you thought you and the snake was cool. You can't be cool with no snake. Sooner or later it's going to show you it's a snake. Exodus chapter 21, and let's start that at verse 22.
If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him. And he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
Now, this judgment was taken out of man's hand, but it was never taken out of Yahweh's hand. So Yahweh is still holding his same law, his same power, that sooner or later, judgment has to be rendered, hand for hand, foot for foot, eye for eye. And because there's a pause, this is what helps us do some things that we shouldn't do, because we don't see the punishment right away. This is the same thing that got the nations in trouble. Because they did wrong, nothing happened. So they did more wrong. The best thing that can happen to you is you can do wrong at 5:15 and 5:35, here comes judgment. That way you'll learn, you know what, I don't need to do that no more. But see, when nothing happen to you, you already planning next week.
Next week, you know what, I'm going to put some extra chocolate on that wrong. Yeah, and some whipped cream. It's going to be delicious.
But if he did with you right away, you'll stop right away. We don't even know how to call blessings. We think it's a blessing that nothing happened to us. It was a blessing that something did happen to you. See, we listen to all these people on Sunday morning. We don't know what to call blessing or call it the right thing. Go ahead, bro.
burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake.
Right. Now, how is it we can understand this when it comes down to a car accident or something like that? Because as soon as one of us get in a minor fender bender, oh, we can't wait. One call, that's all. We can't wait to get on the phone. My neck, my back, my neck at my back. Oh, we trying to get something for what happened to us. Well, you can't figure that out in that hallway when you did something wrong that you need to write that. But you can figure that out when it's time to call Ken Nugent. But you couldn't figure that out. You can figure that out when you're in a vehicle. But you couldn't figure that out standing in that hallway, though. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 28. If an ox gore a man or a woman, that they die, then the ox shall be surely stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push with his horn in time past, and it has been testified to his owner, and he has not kept him in, but that he has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death.
Right. You are held responsible for that which you knew was dangerous. Yahweh hasn't changed his law. Yahshua said, not one tittle shall go pass from this law till all be fulfilled. Yahweh's law ain't changed. He just took it out of our hands because we don't know how to deal with it in righteousness. Because we'll deal with the law fully with one person, and then here comes somebody we like, and we ain't going to deal with the law right with them. Because, you know, we like them. They our friends. So they going to get a slap on the wrist. What you think is wrong with the justice system now? They got a secret committee that decides who gets charged. That's why we don't see certain people in court. Because they got together and decided that they wasn't going to charge their friends. They call them the grand jury. They decided they wasn't going to charge their friends, but they were going to charge you. And their friends did something 8 times worse than you. But they liked them. So they decided they wasn't going to get charged. So they never have a criminal record. Go ahead.
If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. Whether he have gored a son or have gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done unto him. If the ox shall push a manservant or a maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit, and do not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good, and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. And if one man's ox hurt another man's, that he die, then they shall sell the live ox, and divide the money of it, and the dead ox also they shall divide. Or if it be known that the ox has used to push in time past, and his owner has not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own.
And we have to be able to put this in today's understanding so that we understand that when something is done wrong, then it must be set right. When we deal with restitution and the things, we will quickly go to law with the Euro Gentiles, the people of the earth, but we won't consider that things have to be made right before we get to somebody else's courtroom. Why we got to let somebody else tell us that? You already have a law. Their law is based off yours. We go and get a bankruptcy if our money ain't right. Bankruptcy come out of this book. They took it out of your law. Yet we still go to them to ask them what y'all think we ought to do. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 33. See, because our people have been on the back end of a lot of things, what has happened is there have been a lot of Euro Gentiles who have sat back and haven't really cared about a lot of things. Well, those things are coming to them now. It's their turn. See, they find out that the powers that be care about you for a little while, but there's still levels to their control. And they want to control all flesh. And when you wait and let something become an epidemic, it's too late to try to fix it now. See, drugs was a black problem because they knew where they dropped it off at. They didn't think that, when you put the drug in the car, they're going to drive it right across over there, across those tracks. Now it became an epidemic. Why? Because people on the other side of town start getting strung out. But it was made for us. It was dropped off for us. We didn't have no planes. We couldn't go and get nothing from Colombia. We can barely go to Columbia Drive, much less Columbia. But we didn't get that over here. But it was dropped off right in our neighborhood. And it ravaged our neighborhood. But when drugs got through there, they said, wait a minute. See, that one thing about cocaine. Cocaine said, wait a minute. They got a lot of money over there. And they be giving their kids all kind of money. Let's go across these tracks. Uh-oh. Cocaine went over there too. Now it's an epidemic. And each problem has been the same way. And because people are so selfish and they worry about their own self, they don't worry about something until it get to their door. It's too late by the time it get to your door. When you saw it 8 doors down, you should have been trying to deal with it. And be honest. Hey, man, I need to help you deal with this because, my house, right? You see the blue one? The one with the blue shutters. That's mine right there. It's going to make it down there. So I would like to help you before, it get down there. So part of me is good and part of me is selfish, because I want to get it before it get down there. So if you don't mind, I'd like to help my selfishness and help you too. Is that okay? Be honest with it. I'm helping you for 2 reasons. My house right down there. But now we wait till it make it to our door. Then it's woe is me. But if you had got together with some of those other people, you could have kept that from doing that. Go ahead, brother. Where you at?
It says chapter 33 and verse 1. Woe to you that spoileth, and you was not spoiled, and dealeth treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with you. When you shall cease to spoil, you shall be spoiled, and when you shall make an end of dealing treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with you.
Right. So the nations have done all of the things that they have done to build their wealth. And right after they did all of those evil things, they then made those things illegal so that nobody else can do them. The powers that be came in, did everything illegal, built their major corporations, then made everything that they did illegal so nobody else could do them. They have used free labor, then they outlawed free labor. So now they done set up everything. They say, we good. Now Yahweh made sure, you done? You done, right? Okay, now my turn. Now it's your turn to get spoiled. Go ahead.
O Yahweh, be gracious unto us. We have waited for you. Be you their arm every morning. Our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of yourself, the nations were scattered. And your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar. As the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them.
Mm-hmm. And when you understand the things of locusts, you understand that is a consuming fire. When you have the locust situation, and they have that situation going on in parts of Africa now. It's real interesting what's going on all over the earth. It's various plagues. The very plagues that are written in this book, they're happening in different ways in different places on the earth. But see, the powers that be are using these things to gain control. And Yahweh is sitting back. Go ahead and let them do it because they need to be together when it comes down for punishment. See, they're getting ready for their own judgment, but that's not what they think they're doing. They're getting together to try to rule over the earth to set up their one world government. That's what they're getting together to set up. That's what everything you see is about. And Yahweh letting them do it. Because he need everybody to be together so that when he give the whooping, everybody get a whooping at the same time. Ain't nothing worse than trying to find when you got 5 kids and they done tore up your house. You know what I'm saying? You running trying to whoop all them 5 kids. Get everybody together. Come here. Go get your little sister. Come on in here. See, that way, when the whooping start, you whoop everybody in the same room, take care of that business. Because see, if you whoop one of them and then the other one free, they take off running. You got to go get that one now. But if I get them all in the same room, ain't no running. All the whooping is going down right now. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. Yahweh is exalted, for he dwells on high. He has filled Zion with judgment and righteousness, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of your times and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure.
Hey, pause. Say that again.
The fear of Yahweh is his treasure.
The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. Yahweh don't give his treasure. Think about what is a treasure? How do you find, we look at the little movies or whatever and they have a treasure map, right? They hide treasure. Okay? Treasure not something that you just, you don't just sit treasure on your front doorstep and just say treasure. You know that ain't gonna be there in the morning, right? I mean, they're gonna steal that, right? You know that. So if you got treasure, you hide that, right? He hides his fear so that he can prove who's really going to deal with him righteously. He doesn't show you his power. So all of those people don't even know to fear him yet. And he waits and sees who operates in what manner. See, when you talk about the things that are listed in this book, what our dress code is, how we have to approach unto Yahweh, see how many times you have to tell somebody the same thing. Let one of them police come in here with a big gun. Watch how you don't have to tell Jake nothing. Oh, I see what you fear. You fear what you can see. Go ahead, bro.
Behold, their valiant ones shall cry without. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring man cease. He has broken the covenant. He has despised the cities. He regardeth no man. The earth mourns and languishes. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, says Yahweh. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath, as fire, shall devour you. And the people shall be as burnings of lime. As thorns cut up, shall they be burnt in the fire. Hear, you that are afar off, what I have done, and you that are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness has surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with the everlasting burnings? He that walketh righteously and speaks uprightly.
Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? He that walks uprighteously. Otherwise, the fire gonna burn you up. You're not gonna be able to stand near Yahweh. You're not gonna be able to be near him because the fire, it says he's a consuming fire. If you don't get yourself right, you're gonna get burnt up the closer you get to it. So you're gonna have to figure out whatever this is in here. Go ahead.
Verse 15, he that walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he that despises the gain of oppressions, that shaketh his hands from holding of bribes, that stops his ears from hearing of blood and shuts his eyes from seeing evil. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. Your eyes shall see the king in his beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Your heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? You shall not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than you can perceive, of a stammering tongue that you cannot understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Your eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken.
Right. No matter what happens to Israel, Yahweh is going to preserve Israel. So when you get to these people that want to deal with the various things that are written in this book and tell you Dan is cut off because we can't find him in Revelation because of their translation issues that they have had in this book. And it is amazing that people can accept that this Lord thing was put in. We're talking about over 7,000 times. You're going to find Lord in some fashion or form, and not one of those things was ever written when this book was written. That's a Gentile term. Our people ain't never said Lord. So when you read this, and there was a part where it was saying that Sarah showed reverence unto Abraham, calling him Lord, and then you have a sister will read that and say, well, I'm gonna show respect to my husband. I'm saying, yes, my Lord. I like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. That ain't even my word. That ain't even my word. We don't do that. See, that's one of their substitute words. All you got to do is go and watch one of their old movies. Lord this, Lord that, Lords of London, Lord Farquaad. It ain't on us. But we can accept that, but we got problems with other things. And man, we able to cheat. We got computers, man. We can look up all of this. We can have 4-5 translations of the Bible in front of us at the same time. We ain't got no excuse. When my elder was studying, he studied at a kitchen table. And it might be in 6 or 7 different books on that table. He wouldn't use no computer if I tried to give him one. Because he had got accustomed to looking it up in books. But that was the long way. By the time he went and got the book, I'd be like, there it is right there. Yeah. Boy, how you find it? I right click. You know what I'm saying? That's it. He went somewhere and I right click. So the excuses that we think we have, you don't have those. Go ahead, bro.
It says chapter 33 and verse 21. But there the glorious Yahweh will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ships pass thereby. For Yahweh is our judge. Yahweh is our lawgiver. Yahweh is our king.
Right, but the children of Israel asked for another king. Now we want a king we can see. See, we want a king like all the other nations. Big, strong, warrior-looking brother that, scare people half to death. We want one of them. That's what we want. We don't want you to be our king, Yahweh. We want something else. We don't like the way you have chosen to set off things. Okay. Yahweh said, all right, I'll give you a king. I'm telling you what your king gonna do. He gonna do this, this, and this. What I heard himself say. Yeah, but give us a king anyway. Right. That's us. Tell us all the situations. Tell us everything that's going to happen. We still going to do what we want to do. And after it blow up, we the first ones in front of Yahweh out. Oh, Yahweh, please, please. I told you everything that will happen. Told you he was going to take your sons and your daughters. He's going to take your kids and use them for his own purpose. What we say, still give us a king. so we can be like everybody else. That's our problem. Everybody else. We're scared to be different. We want to be like everybody else. Here's the problem. When mass murder start happening out there in that street, you still gonna want to be like everybody else? Let's see. Go ahead, bro.
He will save us. Verse 23, your tacklings are loose. They could not well strengthen their mass. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey. And the inhabitant shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their lawlessness.
All right, let's go to our Exodus chapter 12. Exodus chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 20.
Verse 20, you shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread.
And we should be in the process of preparing our homes for our Passover and unleavened bread. Sometimes we get so caught up in dealing with the Passover that we actually forget what the real reason behind this Passover is. But we need to consider that along with some of the things that are going on right now. Go ahead.
Then Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning.
None of you shall go out of your house until the morning. Now we're at situations where people say, hey, there's a breathable disease. Nobody should go out of their house. It's time for the nations to feel the same things that the children of Israel have had to deal with. And, it's upsetting people when they start, say stuff like, it don't seem like there's a lot of dog people catching that thing. But, I can't say the name because I've heard that if you say the name, that's every time our internet go down. Every time I say the name, the static come in, so I'm just going, that thing. That's how we gonna deal with that. Phone might have went down 22 times on Bible study. Every time I got ready to say something, and then we're gonna do. Man, what in the world going on here? Yeah. So now people scared that they're gonna catch that thing. So now they told to stay in their houses. Yahweh told us the same thing. Hey, it's a destroyer that's finna come through these streets. I need you to mark your door so that the destroyer knows that your house is different from all the rest of the houses. All right, these are his instructions so that he knows the difference between you and them. But then I also need you to stay in your house. Go ahead.
For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in onto your houses to smite you.
Now, understand something. When we talk about the Egyptians, we're dealing with the physical people. Yahweh said, I will send you into Egypt again, which is bondage. That is servitude. Understand, this ain't the only place we've been in servitude. So when we start talking about the plagues of Egypt, we keep looking here. This ain't the only place we had to serve. Yahweh said, I sent my people all to the four corners of the globe, all over the place. Everybody got to get a piece of this. That's why he inviting all of them together. Come on, I need y'all to gather together. Go ahead.
And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when you be come to the land which Yahweh will give you, according as he has promised, that you shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? That you shall say, this is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshiped.
Now, consider something. You know, we are coming to a time where they are getting ready to institute certain things. We got holidays coming up, but we have a place where they say what their new term is social distancing. So you need to be at least 6 feet away from each individual. So you know what I'm saying, that there's I need enough. Wait a minute, this what? See, we read things in Daniel where they said they made a law for them to when you hear this music, when you do this, this is the law. Now bow down and serve this God. Now, what's gonna happen when serving your God become illegal? Oh, everybody ain't ready to sing and dance now. Read, brother.
And the children of Israel went away and did as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight Yahweh smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon.
Right. It's time for the oppressor to suffer loss. The oppressed have been suffering loss. So when they start talking about recessions and stuff like that, half that stuff we don't even notice. We notice because they told us it's a recession for real. Where recess that? They noticed immediately. Go ahead, bro.
And all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
Right. When you talk about the oppressor starts to lose things, it's hard for them because they have not gotten accustomed to loss. See, your first loss is always the hardest one. Ain't nothing like that first loss. That first loss make you cry like a baby. I'm talking about all you got to do is watch football game. Big muscle bound dude, he got ear muscles. I mean, he got muscles everywhere. Let him lose that first game. He put towel over his head because he don't want everybody to see him crying. Oh, that first loss hurt. You got some folk that ain't lost in 400 years. They ain't lost in 400 years. That first loss gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. We don't consider having little small losses as a blessing. Because Yahweh saying, toughen up, boy. Toughen up, girl. Come on now. You got some stuff that's finna come toward you. And when it comes, you can't be sitting here whining all day. We got somewhere to be. So when that first little slap comes, it might make you step back. But it ain't supposed to knock you down. Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it right there. Let's go to Exodus chapter 10. Exodus chapter 10, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him. And that you may tell in the ears of your son and of your son's sons what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that you may know how that I am Yah. And Moshe and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus says Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring the locust into your coast.
Right. So now you have a so-called breathing issue in one side of the earth. Then you have in the places, this part of Africa, the locusts are absolutely eating and tearing up everything. I mean, there are pictures in Africa where there are so many locusts you can't see the rest of the sky. It looks like a dust cloud moving, and as it gets closer, you find out that it's absolutely nothing but locusts, and they eat everything in their path. And certain storms and the weather have allowed those things to multiply more than they would normally be. They would normally pop up, stay there for a little while, and then die out. But because of certain things, they have multiplied sometimes 400 or 500 fold. So they are everywhere and eating everything. But you know, all the way, most of the things in certain places, they eating all the shade trees where we get, you know, the shea butter. That's all some people want.
You mean shea butter about to go up?
Got people starving, and we talking about we ain't gonna shine like we normally do. You know, because I like to glisten. Right. Read, man.
And they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. And they shall eat the residue that which is escaped, which remains unto you from the hail.
It says, and they shall cover the face of the earth that one cannot be able to see the earth. You can see they just posted a picture. If you go on Google and put in locusts, it will show you multiple pictures of locusts right now today. And it is so many eating up some things in Africa right now, you can't even see the land. Yahweh mean business. Go ahead.
And shall eat every tree which grows for you out of the field. And they shall fill your houses, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servants said unto him, How long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their Elohim. Know you not yet that Egypt is destroyed?
Right. This is the thing. And Pharaoh's servants said unto him, How long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their Elohim. So the whole thing about this was punishment unto the oppressor, so that the children of Israel could freely worship Yahweh the way he wanted the children of Israel to worship him. Let's go to Revelation chapter 15. I passed by the same places I normally pass by, and it was real scarce on the way here.
Revelation chapter 15 and verse 1.
My elder used to say, what y'all gonna do when y'all get ready to come to those doors and they lock? When they say, all right, we can't let no more people in. What you gonna do? See, we take a whole lot of things for granted until we can't no more. Revelation chapter 15, let's start that at verse 1.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of Elohim.
For in them is filled up the wrath of Elohim. The thing we used to hear on Sunday morning is, God ain't angry with you. What God y'all talking about? Because what I read, this God is angry. Wrath means anger. He ain't happy. Some people getting ready for some kind of rosy red reunion with Christ, and he coming for war. Are we even preparing for spiritual war in our minds? Or are we preparing to be raptured up so we can go to Valhalla? That's what your heaven is. It's the Viking Valhalla. That's where they got it from. Soon as the Viking died, he floated up to the sky. How many people on Sunday morning know that they singing about Valhalla? It's very interesting because when you even look at the little Viking films, what did the Vikings first start to rob? The church. Ragnar was robbing the churches. He went in the church and hey, they got Jews like this in all the churches. Oh, we must go to them. So he was going from church to church robbing them. Then he said, go ahead and tell me about this God you worship. So the robbers of the church, next thing you know, their doctrine infiltrates and merges with the churches that they were robbing. Now everybody think as soon as they loved one die, zip tang, they in heaven. And that came from the people who was robbing the church. Check that out. Now go tell that to your mama. She gonna throw you out the house. But go ahead and tell her. Go ahead, brother.
And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Elohim. And they sing the song of Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are your works, Adonai Elohim Almighty. Just and true are your ways, you King of saints. Who shall not fear you, O Adonai, and glorify your name? For you only are holy. For all nations shall come and worship before you. For your judgments are made manifest.
Your judgments are made manifest. Who shall not fear you? But this is the part where Yahweh has set up the earth. He hid his power where the adversary, the devil, was showing his. The adversary, the devil, shows his power, so people automatically want to get on his side because they want the power. Yahweh hides his and reveals his at the end. That way he knows that the people who are on his side are really on his side. Go ahead.
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of this testimony in heaven was open. And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of Elohim, who lives forever and ever. And the temple was filled with the smoke from the glory of Elohim and from his power. And no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
Right. We're talking about the end of the book, and we're talking about plagues. So we can find the plagues in the beginning of the book, and we can find the plagues at the end of the book. So why have we allowed somebody to give us this rosy picture of what things are supposed to be, knowing that Yahweh made this a paradise? Then man messed up the paradise. You don't get another paradise. You're going to have to fix the one that he gave you. If you want to see some bad parenting, get a kid, let them tab what it is you gave them, and then turn around and give them the same thing or a better one after they tear it up. You got one rotten individual on your hand, and they're going to stay rotten all their days. They're going to be rotten to the core because you have not made them take any responsibility for the things that you have given them. They tear it up, you make them fix it. They have a responsibility, you make sure they take care of that responsibility. Oh, I love it when my kids tell me, well, I can't figure out how to take this trash. It busted all over the ground. Well, then we just gonna be out here all day figuring it out. That's all. Come on in. Come on now, let's pick that up one by one. Come on. But you know what we do? I ain't got time. I go on and do it. No, hell I ain't. You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today. If that take us all day, you're gonna learn today. Because I won't be helping them by doing that. I'm hurting them. Because what you think gonna happen when they get out here in this world? You think Mr. Bob Doppelina gonna say, never mind, I'll do it myself?
Hmm.
No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Go ahead, bro.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men that which had the mark of the beast.
Now, when you start talking about, this mark of the beast, there's some things that we have to consider with what's going on, with the field catching that thing. There's a lot of things that's happening right now that's kind of on the side that we're not really paying attention to. You got to understand, this is a money-hungry society, okay? They built what they have on free labor. Now, all of a sudden, they're willing to shut down business. Oh, come on now. Come on. That's got to sound strange to somebody. Come on now. That should have been a part of you. That's just something. Money-hungry people don't shut down businesses. So there's already a flag going up. Go ahead.
And upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it came as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood.
Right. And we watched the video where they had a blood red river in Jamaica, and the brother was going crazy over there, talking about the things, and because it was the sin of man that is causing. I mean, and it's just a regular guy who's looking at, why does this water look like this? Go ahead.
And I heard the angel of the waters say, You are righteous, O Adonai, which art and was and shall be, because you have judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for they are worthy.
Right. You got people fighting at Walmart over water. They're getting into it about toilet tissue. So one thing about a storm or something like that, it put everybody on that same level. See, your Bentley don't mean nothing when you're thirsty. So you can have a Maserati, but it don't do you no good if you can't wipe. You itch just like the poor man. It's the same situation. Go ahead.
And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Adonai El Shaddai, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire.
Right. They've been worshiping the sun for all this time. It's time to go ahead and give them the sun. You worship on the sun's day. All the Sunday morning signs are sun symbols. The Pope walk around with his scepter, and it is a sunburst on the end of the scepter. See, they know what they're worshiping. But the people who are following have not been told that level. So what happens is our people accidentally worship the adversary, the devil. The ones at the top, they are on purposely worshiping the adversary, the devil. And he always give his on purpose worshipers more than he give his accidental worshipers. Go ahead.
And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Elohim, which has power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory.
Right. We won't repent, but we're going to argue. We're going to say how much we don't like this, that, and the third, but we ain't going to repent, though. Go ahead.
And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain.
You know, what's interesting, man, we can read the things in the book of Revelation, and you can see people look at you like you must be in some other book. Or like they want to believe that this is some Old Testament judgment. And this is part of the New Testament. But you have to ask yourself, why is all of this? Why is it separated from the word of Elohim? And why is it that we will never hear that? You go to Sunday church 40 years straight. You ain't never gonna hear this. It's in the same. Matter of fact, look, you had to get to Matthew and Luke and all the Gospels before you got to this. So it ain't in the Old Testament. So why is it so much a thing that cannot be read? Because it's hard to tell that Valhalla lie when you read this. It's hard to say you gonna float in the air and everything gonna be wonderful when you keep reading about the judgment and the plagues that have to come on the earth before the earth is turned back into the paradise that it was originally given for you. You don't float off to another paradise. You gotta fix the one that he gave you. You ever consider how beautiful the things are on this earth that Yahweh has given us? But we so busy going from here, there, and yonder, we don't see. You know what we rather look at? A picture of a waterfall on our phone than a waterfall.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Swipe right. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my goodness, no, blow it up. Oh, that is beautiful.
How about let's go to the waterfall?
Oh, hell no.
Right. Read, man.
Verse 11. And blaspheme the Elohim of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Elohim Almighty.
So these unclean spirits then are moving to bring the nations together. They have to then come together for this great battle that they have to fight together. So they're all having the same issues so they can all come together. See, they doing one thing, Yahweh doing something else. Yahweh said all y'all need to be together. Go ahead.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before Elohim, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his anger.
So understand, the adversary, the devil, knows that he has but a short time before these great things take place. So he's getting all his people in the places where he needs for them to be to make their assault against the saints of Elohim. So Lucifer's getting his people ready, and Yahweh is getting his people ready. Only problem is Lucifer's getting his people ready, and it seems a whole lot more glorious than how Yahweh is doing here. So Yahweh don't operate the same way Lucifer operates. So it'll get to you mentally when you see Lucifer get his people together, and you seeing tanks and helicopters. Yahweh getting his people together. You see like a dude with a German Shepherd. You're like, oh man, we're gonna die. We are going to die. They got a tank over there. We got man with a dog. We are going to die. No, just give Yahweh a minute now. Give him a minute. He don't operate like everybody else. Hold on. Go ahead.
And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great.
All right. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 9. Yeah, it'll scare you when Yahweh getting together. Who was that? One of the brothers was about scared at a battle, and he swear they were gonna die. And one of the prophets had to say, "Open up his eyes so he can see." And then he was able to see the angels in the chariots circled all the way around, ready to go to battle. But when he saw with physical eyes, man, we about to die. Do you see all this equipment they got, man? We ain't got nothing, man. We finna die. And it kept bothering him. Man, we about to die. Yahweh, open his eyes because he's starting to get on my nerves, man. Let him see what we see. So if you the one that keep pacing around the room, you the only one that ain't seeing nothing. Ezekiel chapter 9. You can tell who ain't seeing because they the one that doing, you know what I'm saying? You seen that little dog that just be running around, you understand? And the big dog just be looking at him like, what in the hell is, why can't he just sit down? This Jack Russell is getting on my nerves. Right. Ezekiel chapter 9, let's start that at verse 1.
He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, Cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And, behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lies toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of the Elohim of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So you got to then look at this situation. You have an angel whose weapon here is a writer's inkhorn. That's it. See, certain angels have certain jobs, and this is a very valuable weapon he has here. This is a very powerful thing. The last thing, we would be looking at the person with the automatic rifle. Last thing we doing is paying attention to some dude in linen with a pen. Nobody, don't be afraid of him. He's got an ink pen. That's the one that decides whether or not you live or not. Might want to pay attention to the dude with the linen and the pen. But what we going to look at? The guy with the automatic weapon. Go ahead.
You know, in that situation, a lot of times we're focused on the wrong thing, because how many people actually pay attention to the court reporter while you're in court? Who is recording every single word? And unless the judge says strike that from the records, it is on record.
It sure is. That's how some people end up getting in trouble, because they end up lying under oath, and that stuff is written down. They go back. Wait a minute. Go back and read this statement, such and such. What they say? Okay, well, later on, that was shown not to be true. You going to jail. You wasn't even the one on trial.
I was just here to help him.
Well, now you need somebody to come help you. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Enter the others, he said in mine hearing. Go you after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have you pity.
Set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So if they don't care about the righteousness being upheld in Yahweh's holy city, leave them alone. Understand that they still Israel though. See, they're not all Israel, which are of Israel. So if they don't care, and you can tell who don't care, watch how they operate. Watch what they do. They don't care. Don't put no mark on them. Go ahead.
Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children.
Right. Get everybody. The mama, the grandmama, the little children, kill all of them. It's Yahweh now. We getting ready for some kind of little rosy red meeting, and he's trying to set righteousness in the earth. And how you set righteousness is you have to slay the blood of those who have defiled the land. And if you don't care nothing about the land, then you are part of the ones who helped defile it. Then your blood must be shed. So are we going to be those who get to enjoy a cleansed earth? Or are we of those who are going to have to shed their blood for somebody else to live in a cleansed earth? Make your decision. Go ahead.
And women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. And begin at my sanctuary.
Start at my sanctuary. So when you start talking about the things and the punishment of Yahweh Elohim, it has to start at his house, then goes to all the other places. Go ahead.
Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go you forth. And they went forth, and slew in the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face, and cried, and said, Ah, Adonai Elohim, will you destroy all the residue of Israel in your pouring out of your fury upon Jerusalem? Then he said unto me, the lawlessness of the house of Israel and Yehud is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, Yahweh has forsaken the earth, and Yahweh sees not. And as for me also, mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as you have commanded me.
Right. This is the one thing that you're going to find every last one of those angels say, unless they are an angel for the adversary, the devil. The man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter. I have done as you have commanded me. That angel not going to fail. It was told unto the children of Israel, behold, I send an angel to lead you in the way. Behold, do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression. You know why? Because he going to get this right here. I have done that as you have commanded me. He not going to fail. He not going to fail for nobody. He ain't going to slow down for nobody. If he said, look, I need the children of Israel to be on this hill on the second new moon. He going to have the children of Israel on that hill by the second new moon. Now, it might not be all of the children of Israel. I said, what happened? It's 50,000 of them missed. Oh, I had to kill those, Yahweh. Every time I got ready to move, they kept murmuring. They kept slowing me down. I wasn't going to make it here by the second new moon. So I killed all them. You know what Yahweh going to say? Well done, my servant. All right, let's go. Done deal. He already had the power to do whatever he needed to do when he was given the job. But you know, we think we slick. We're going to go around the angel and go to Yahweh. Yahweh, this angel getting on my nerves. Ugh. Yeah, you're going to die. He has a job to do. And he is not going to receive a failed report because we didn't feel like dealing with something. Because we don't feel like going through this change. Or we don't feel like doing that. Don't nobody care nothing about what you feel like doing. And perspective is going to change when we start seeing people dead in the street. See, we ain't seen nothing yet. That's part of our problem. That's why we still got a high-minded mentality. Because we ain't seen nothing. We get to see stuff on TV. But when it come to our door, we're going to see how we operate then. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13.
Revelations chapter 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Right. The powers that be are already, they have tried to revive the so-called Holy Roman Empire several times. But we know that these powers that be have been on this whole quest for their one world government. And it's very easy for us to see. All we got to do is turn the dollar over the back, and we see Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is one world government. They had that in mind from day one. This is not something that they have decided lately. It was always in their plan. And they have been using whatever they could use along the way to help implement these things. And we just happen to be alive during the time that some of these things are being put in play. Why? Because the fullness of the Gentile rule has to come in. Before the children of Israel can be redeemed as the people that we are. So there's some things that no matter what we do, we are not going to be able to get around those things. So if we're getting to the point where we're getting scared now, y'all gonna have some serious problem in a minute. If they scare you, like, oh my God, you're gonna breathe. You're gonna get that thing. So now you got folk, you know what I'm saying, they breathe. What you doing?
I don't want to inhale too deep.
Because you might breathe in that thing. Right. Right. Go ahead, bro.
And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Let me tell you something. That damn pollen causing me more problem than anything. They talking about this thing, that's the thing they need to come out here and get them out of here. I need a whole, I need the world to get together to figure out how to get all this damn yellow stuff off my car. The wind blew the other day and I was standing by a trash can and a whole yellow cloud went in my face. I needed one of them breathing machines after that thing did that.
Then folk looking at me, he got that thing.
Go ahead, bro.
And deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Now, there's some things that we have to consider. Verse 16. And he causes all, both small, great, rich, and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. There's some things that we have to consider as all of this is going on. All of the businesses are being shut down. What we are witnessing is the changeover of the economic system. Sweden has already gone to a cashless society, and they have already themselves opted to get the chip in their thumb, and they say it's so convenient. Nobody uses cash anymore. They just wave their thumb in front of the register, and this is how they're paying for all of their things. What was interesting, when you talk about shutting the small businesses down, the whole part about this new system of rulership is it's governed and ran by big businesses, not the small ones. Small ones get in the way, okay? So by shutting them down and saying, you know, nobody can really go to them, you got to think about who's going to be able to survive after a extended period of shutdown being a small business. It wasn't meant to survive. So then now you're dealing with some things. All of a sudden they start talking about a stimulus package because of this. How you come up with a stimulus package this quick? Right. Now, did you notice how they said they were going to give the money to the stimulus package? Anybody pay attention to that?
They said, we're going to put it directly in your bank account.
Well, how convenient. But what if you ain't got no bank account? What's the point? Oh, the World Health Organization dude came out and said, don't use cash. Because first it was airborne, but now it'll stay on the money. It's airborne, it'll go in the air and it'll land on the cash. Come on now, you paying attention? Don't use cash. I knew that something was strange. I couldn't figure it out last week. My folk was finna get ready to go to the store. The request was, put some money in the account. So, cause I gotta go to the store, make sure you transfer some money. No, I got some cash. Whenever you got, this is when you know it's a problem. Whenever your woman turned down a pocket full of cash, brother, there's a problem in the world. There's a problem in the world. When you offer your woman some cash and she says, oh no, don't give me that. Oh hell no, the devil is it up in here. Never had that happen before. Something going wrong up in here. Said, you just turned down a pocket full of cash? I said, I got cash here. That's dirty. What? I said, I must ain't been watching the news. And I found out, oh, yeah. They said went airborne and land on the cash. How convenient. How else to get people to keep going electronically? See, you can't track cash. Now, they say in Sweden and places like that, crime has gone down enormously because they can't, buy things in cash. But then if you keep reading those articles, you'll find out, yeah, but your identity theft has gone up amazing. But then the criminals just figured out something else. That's just crime didn't stop. It went to another direction. So brothers not selling crack, they're selling credit cards. I got a credit card here, brother. You can be James Smith today, right now. It didn't stop. But understand what's going on. This whole thing is then completely changing the economy over to electronic. And when you do that, it is going to cause a lot of issues. When you talk about everybody's fear of getting that thing, the people are going to get themselves tested. The people are the ones that are going and asking for a shot. Now, the shot that they have, the chip that they're using in Sweden is the size of a grain of rice that they put in their thumb, and it's automatically taken out of their bank account when they wave their thumb across. Yet, you got people standing in line to go and get a shot. They are basically putting it out to a situation where the people are asking for this thing. Okay? So then you go and get this magic shot that they couldn't have tested. Because, they still trying to figure the magic shot out. Okay? So they get the magic shot, and you know how small a grain of rice is? Everything is changing, but at the same time, do understand, Yahweh sits back and allows some things, because how else is the rest of the world are going to come together for their own judgment? he got to let them go ahead and do what they got to do. And if we getting caught up on the beginning stages, what you going to do when this situation get good? The credit's just now rolling now. We got Hebrews crawling under the table. The credits ain't even, they're still playing the opening music yet. You just now hearing the music, man. The leading actor ain't even came in the movie yet. And we already under the table. For real? What you gonna do when stuff start blowing up? That's the good part of the movie. You can't be up under the table now. It's just not starting. It's just not starting to get interested. I'm going to get my popcorn. Go ahead, bro.
You know, brother, in a capitalistic society, why hasn't anybody sat back and think it's strange that millions of people have the thing, and they're going to give you vaccines for free. They've been giving out flu vaccines for years for free in a place that benefits on every dollar counts.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, we've got to stop falling for the okie doke.
Mm-hmm.
This place, the only thing they did free was free labor.
That's it. And it was only free, for one group of people. Yeah. Even that free didn't go all the way around. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, wait a minute. Where's my free labor? No, you are the free labor.
Wait a minute. I don't see how this works for me. Right. Whenever you see that, and I mean, it's just too convenient for everything to keep being shut down, just without anything. It is rolling from country to country to country. So you look on one side of the earth, you got locusts shutting down the economy. Understand what that's doing. That locust situation is not just a thing, and understand now, by certain things, they can alter storms and make things happen because they know certain storms are going to make those locusts multiply because they only breed for a certain while. But if you can bring forth and manipulate a storm, you can make them breed longer, which then multiplies them. So you got one thing completely killing the economy on one end of the earth, and you have a whole nother situation that is now killing the economy on the rest of the parts of the earth. Anybody thought it was interesting that as all of this was happening in China, like Iran or somebody had like the biggest outbreak? Now who the hell from Wuhan went to Iran? How the hell did their outbreak happen damn near simultaneously? Here come that monkey with the wings again. Here go that monkey with the wings. You know that same monkey that was in Africa with the AIDS? And that monkey came to New York City at the same time. Boy, that monkey was tired as hell by the time he flew all the way to New York. Boy, they should have had a monkey here, should have had a big old Gatorade. It just, oh, I'm tired. That monkey flew a long way, boy, for him to infect people in Africa and in New York City at the same time. Boy, I tell you, that was a busy monkey. Well, somebody had to have something interesting because it's rather interesting how, these things are taking place simultaneously. Man, the powers that be don't care what they use to get what they want. Novus Ordo Seclorum is on the back of that dollar. They had plans from the beginning. These plans ain't stopped. They didn't abort their plans. But we have to understand how that's going to affect us. So we don't jump into a fight and a battle that ain't got nothing to do with us. This ain't our stuff. And we don't need to get caught in the crossfire of trying to uphold somebody else's situation. If they are hell-bent on changing this economy, they're going to change it. And ain't nothing nobody else going to be able to do about it. Go ahead, brother.
Revelations chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Right. And if you're scared to use the cash, they scare you away from using the cash. This is the same thing that's happening in other countries. They are not using any of the cash. I read one article where the lady said she thought the money was fake when she saw, because she hadn't used money in 3 years, so she didn't even notice the new bills that they had made. She thought the people gave her fake money. That's how often they even see money. But that means everything is trackable. Every purchase is trackable. Ticked me off the other day. I left either Home Depot or something, and my phone says, "How was your trip to Home Depot?" I say, "You know what? Now you're pissing me off, Google. Now you're starting to piss me off. You know what I'm saying? I know you're tracking me, but you ain't got to rub it in my face. How was your trip to Home Depot?" But you know, that ain't what's gonna get us. You know what's gonna get brothers is the day when your phone says, "So how was Keisha?" Oh, hell no! Delete, Control, Alt, Delete. Now Google know you've been over Keisha's house. Don't try to delete it now. See, now brother gonna want to delete that. Right? Right. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Did you finish that?
No, sir.
Go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Now, the Pope he didn't really have no reason to stand out in the square no more. Ain't nobody gonna show up. So how about I just go over and do this thing in Israel? Right. Let's go to Romans chapter 11 and let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Yeah, it's getting quite interesting. It is getting interesting. Start that at verse 13, bro.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
The word came forth out of Israel unto the rest of the world. But of course, they have then taken that word and manipulated it and made it to be whatever they wanted it to be. Go ahead.
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be, but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partaketh of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if you boast, you bear not the root, but the root you. You will say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and you stand by faith. Be not high-minded, but fair. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not you.
Right. And these are not the things that are being thought of by the nations. The nations have been raised in a lie, and they are going to say, this is why the word says, they're going to say, our fathers have inherited lies, because they have believed the things that were taught unto them. They have believed the things that were told unto them, so that when Yahweh does reveal who the true children of Israel are and what the nations have done unto them, they are going to be seriously confused, because there are some that have truly believed the lies that they have been told. even though they knew that there were certain things that just didn't make sense. But why would you question it if you're on top? Jump to verse 25.
For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
And this fullness of the Gentiles is their time of rulership that was given on the earth, and it is coming to its final phase. This is what we are watching right now. The final phase of the rulership of the Euro Gentiles. So this is why you have the smart Gentiles, making their way into dealing with the children of Israel. They are earning their salvation now because they are able to see the writing on the wall. Doing that afterwards ain't going to serve the same purpose as doing it beforehand. But this is what all of these things are about. They are consolidating their power. This then gets all of the nations pushed together so that they're operating on one accord. Why? Why? It confuses us because we're trying to figure out if I had a country all by myself and my sister had her country, I wouldn't want to join my country to my sister's country. I want my own country. Because my sister, she crazy. Here's the problem. Yahshua on his way back. And for them to be able to fight him, they know they can't do it separated. They are consolidating their power, getting ready to fight Yahshua. They're going to lose, but they got to try. And they know if they do it country by country, they are going to lose. So they got to find a way to get those countries all together so that they have a fighting chance, at least in their own mind, of being able to defeat Yahshua when he returns. So what you are witnessing is wartime logistics. We just don't know what we're watching. That's what you're watching. Wartime logistics. Before you go to war, you get your money right. Come on, man. That's simple thing. You find out where all your metal at. You find out where all your gunpowder at. You start putting all that stuff together, getting ready for your war. You don't try to figure that out after you done already waged war. That's what's happening right now. Go ahead, brother. You had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to add to what you're saying. This May 14th, if anybody heard it before, that the Pope's supposed to be gathering the kings of the earth to come together to actually have some kind of meeting that he put out there for them to come and to see him.
Man, when you get right down to it, when you talk about the rulers of this world, the Pope has had his hand. Most of these wars were sanctioned by these very people. He decided there are certain situations where he has given them permission to go off and kill a whole bunch of people, and then he go in the same land. You just told them they can go kill them people, man. How you go over there? Them guns wouldn't even been over there had you not told them they could go. So there's some serious things that are about to happen and be put in place, but it's all going to, while they're fulfilling their own will, they're also fulfilling Yahweh's will. But you got to sit back and wait for Yahweh's position to be shown. It ain't gonna be shown in the first part of the movie. See? You got to sit there for a little while. You might not see Yahweh show up until like toward 3/4 to the end. Then here come in, you be like, who's that?
Who that just showed up in the movie right there?
Oh, that's Yahweh. Yeah, he ain't got no, see, he everything belong to him. He ain't got no reason to show up in the beginning. He ain't got no reason to show up in the beginning. But see, we don't wait and sit long enough for us to be able to see Yahweh come into the picture. It ain't time for him to come into the picture now. They just getting their stuff together, preparing to fight Yahshua. It ain't time for him to show up yet. So be patient, Israel. Some things must come to pass before the redemption of the children of Israel comes to pass. That's all that we're going to do for today. As we have been doing, we are going to read our announcement because we have so many family members that are online that do not get to hear our announcements. So starting with this one, Shalom family, your unleavened cleaning should be very close to ending. If you have questions about how you should clean your homes, please see Sister Rebecca or Mother Lael today. And for those that are online, you can send an email to theuci.org@gmail.com if you have any questions. The camp cleaning, where we're going to clean the church, is scheduled for March 28th at even and March 29th beginning at 10 a.m., ending when the camp has been approved complete. Also, it is tax season. If you would like to receive a letter for your donations to the camp, please send an email to ucidonations@gmail.com. This can only be sent to those who have filled in the information asked on the front of the offering envelope or those who may have sent funds electronically. Also, we are about to celebrate Hebrew New Year. We will be celebrating Hebrew New Year on Tuesday evening, March 24th. The brothers will be preparing the meal for that evening. Sisters will be responsible for beverages for the evening. Everyone govern yourselves accordingly. Normally on those things, we try to do most of those things outside. So being that clean and unclean will not matter. We will not come inside the building if the weather permits. All right, that will be a new moon, and normally we do operate according to clean and unclean. But if we can do it outside, we will. That means, and everybody can come no matter what. But like I said, that depends on the weather. Also about the holy days, in an effort to cut costs for some and have everyone to contribute toward the holy day events, we are asking the participants to govern themselves accordingly. Registration for the holy days began March 9th. The fees are $15 per plate per adult per event, $8 per plate per child ages 5 to 12 per event. For example, for an adult attending Passover, unleavened, both feasts, and first fruits, the total will be $60. For a child under 12 for the same 4 events, the total will be $32. Tickets for the event will be accepted at the beginning of the meal line the evening of the event. The registration form was emailed out to some yesterday. If you do not have a registration form and would like one, please send an email to theuci.org@gmail.com and we will send you a registration. If you are registering at the camp, please use a separate offering envelope and allocate the adult amount, children, and the days that you will be attending. You will be able to pick up your tickets the following Shabbat. If you have any questions or concern, please see me or Brother Kish concerning those things there. Let's see what else we have here. Our sisters class has been canceled for March 15th and April 5th to allow us the opportunity to complete the cleansing and purging of our homes. As commanded, we will resume class on April 19th after the holy days, and that comes from Mother Lael. And we have one more. The UCI has a dress code whenever you are attending at this facility. This dress code will be strictly enforced at all times. All females must wear skirts or dresses that reach below their knees. Your shirt must cover your cleavage. Sisters must have a full head covering at all times, and no makeup should be worn on the Sabbath. All brothers must wear shirts to cover their loins. No shorts are allowed. Young brothers must wear your pants on your waist. No undergarment should be seen. If you have questions concerning the dress code, please see one of the deacons. One of the reasons why we read these things and make sure that people adhere to them. When Yahshua went and turned over the tables, he was not only cleansing Yahweh's house, he was also deferring the wrath of Yahweh. When Yahweh would then come and set forth his wrath because they did not operate by the instructions that were given. So it is the responsibility of those that are in charge to make sure that those things are implemented, so that if Yahweh does show up and is very upset, at least the leader has taken care of his responsibility when that comes. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.